You think you will not fall? I will fight you until you give up. And it can attack your health, it can attack your finances, it can attack your family. As much as is within your power, take up the shield of faith and defend what is yours. As much as is within your power, shield yourself with prophetic utterances. And even the ones you cannot handle, tell him it doesn't matter if we are thrown into the fire. The fire can be made 7 times hotter. We will not bow, for our God is able to save us. Even if he chooses not to save us, we will not bow. Throw us into the lion's den, we can be eaten up by the lion. And God is also able to protect us from the lion. But whether he saves us or not, we will stand with the God of heaven. The glory of the church is not in the number, it's the people that make up the number. Can you represent God in your family? Can you represent God in your territory? Can you represent God in your nation? What God is looking for is not just number, it's ranking. How many men can move the hand of God? How many men can bring the government of God to a territory? That should be a greater pursuit. Why we pursue the number? Because every soul must be won. We must make sure they are discipled until they become ambassadors of heaven. In John 16:33, he said, in this world you will have tribulation. He said, but be of good cheer. How can I be of good cheer in tribulation? Because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. He said, my peace I give you, not as the world giveth. See, there is something on our inside, and we must raise men who can travel to touch the tangibility of those things. It said, rejoice. Again I say unto you, rejoice. Philippians chapter 4 verse 6. Not because there is abundance, but because there are spiritual technologies of routing the paths of Zion until you come to where him that is light dwells. It said, in all things by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. It said, let your request be made unto God. Even when it doesn't answer, it said, the peace of God that surpasses knowledge. There is a peace that mind cannot understand. That's what we route in the spirit. But where's the generation that can find God in the midst of persecution? Where's the generation that can find God in the midst of lack? That although the fig tree may not blossom, the labor of the olive might fail, there may be no head in the yard, but I know something, that my God is the horn of my salvation. He will cause my feet to walk in my high places, for he has made my feet like the hinds feet. Nothing can break me, nothing can pull me down. I will rather suffer persecution for the name of the Lord than to compromise for the pleasures of this life. He said, when Moses was come of age, he refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than the pleasures of Egypt, which was but for a season, for he saw him that was invincible. Where is that generation that have the stature to stand until they see him that dwells?